Poland is taking a hard stance against Russia in response to its invasion of Ukraine. The UN says Poland has welcomed more than 2 million Ukrainian refugees since war broke out over a month ago. That's more than any other country. Poland is also allowing U.S. troops to station near the Polish-Ukrainian border in an effort to deter Russia from invading a fellow NATO member state. For more, I want to bring in Lee Feinstein. He is the founding dean and professor of international studies at the Hamilton Luger School at Indiana University Bloomington, and is also the former U.S. ambassador to Poland. Ambassador, welcome. So President Biden obviously just returned from a trip to Poland, but that trip in many ways is being overshadowed by that comment that he made during a speech in Warsaw when he said Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, cannot remain in power. What are the effects of the president making such a statement?
Well, you know, the trip was very successful, and it's too bad that these comments have overshadowed it. I think everybody knows that this is a president who speaks from the heart. He had spent the day meeting with refugees, hearing from ordinary Poles and from Polish leaders. You know, outside of Ukraine, there's no country that's borne the brunt of this more than Poland. So he was really speaking from the heart. And I think shortly thereafter, to the extent that people were concerned about the comment, it got cleaned up. And then the next day, the president made it very, very clear what he meant and how he wanted to criticize the brutality of Putin and really speak to the public about how he felt about what he had seen.
It got clarified for the American audience, Ambassador, but I wonder how those comments, though, are read by an international audience. Can you shed some light on that?
Well, look, I think we have to look at the totality of things. There's been no greater transatlantic unity between the United States and its allies, with the European Union, between Poles and Americans, than what President Biden has been able to do in creating unity across the Atlantic. This is the most important aspect of our foreign policy right now, which is to maintain this strong unity across the Atlantic. Because what Putin really looks for is cracks and rifts and tensions across the Atlantic. And that's not happened. The president and his team have done an incredible job bringing the allies and the United States together. And now our job is to keep and maintain that unity.
So, Ambassador, it sounds like you believe that the war in Ukraine has strengthened or solidified the relationship between the U.S., Poland, and our other NATO allies. But Poland also has strong economic ties to both Russia and Ukraine. They rely on both countries for raw materials as well as other goods. How has the war in Ukraine affected the Polish economy and its relationship with Russia and Ukraine specifically?
Well, I think, you know, the Poles are very concerned and have been very concerned about the threat that Putin poses, I should say, to all of Europe and globally. And I think the fact that the United States has rallied by surging troops to Poland and more broadly in the region with huge amounts of military assistance to Ukraine and also assistance to Poland to help it absorb the refugees, which it has heroically taken in. I think this is a sign of tremendous unity. You know, of course, all of us are going to be affected, and it's time for us to find ways to be strong and also find ways to mitigate our reliance on things like raw materials and food and other things that are affected by this conflict.
Certainly we have heard that. Ambassador, as you've mentioned, the large number of Ukrainian refugees that have gone to Poland, more than 2 million. I'm wondering if you can tell us anything more about whether Poland is fully equipped for those people to stay in the country long term, and is the U.S. doing enough in terms of supporting those refugees?
Well, you know, the stories of Poles and all of the bordering states in the region are really incredible. You know, many Poles are allowing refugees from Ukraine to stay in their homes, and people are rallying with other efforts, volunteer efforts on the border to take care of the refugees, to provide assistance to them. It's really been
incredible.
To see.
But those are often short-term solutions or short-term aid. The question is really, do they have the capacity to support those refugees long-term, as it looks like this is going to be a protracted war?
No question. As the president said, we need to be ready for this for the long haul. The European Union needs to share the burden of the refugee flows. President Biden made an announcement about accepting 100,000 Ukrainian refugees into the United States. These are the kinds of efforts we need to see and sustain over the long term.
Okay. Ambassador Lee Feinstein, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.